Alright guys, this is Kevin. I'm going to show you a simple Zerg rush. This is a 5 pool. The map is Fighting Spirit. And so I'm commentating this after I play it. This is my first person view, so you see where my mouse clicks are and all that. You'll also notice a lot of times I'm using the hotkeys instead of clicking on the buttons in the bottom right there. If you notice, they'll be depressed, or I'll do stuff without actually clicking on it. And that's something you really want to work on. Learning your hotkeys really simplifies things a lot. You can do things a lot faster with the keyboard than actually moving your mouse around. So you see, I built one drone at the start and had my 4 starting drones, and then I built a spawning pool. And if you notice, I pulled the drone a little bit before I had 200 minerals required for the spawning pool. So now I'm going to build another drone to get back up to 5 out of 9. And then I'm going to want to send him to mine on a different patch. You always want to send your workers to mine on a different patch than what other workers are on. Until you have more than 9 workers. It's normally 9 patches. So like I said, this is Fighting Spirit, so it's a 4-player map. I sent my overlord out immediately to scout one of the positions to one of the opposite corners. But I still don't know, even when he gets there, which of the other 2 my opponent is in. So I'm sending this drone out to scout the top right position. So now between those 2, if neither of them see the enemy, then I'll know that he's in the top left. So as soon as my spawning pool's done, I had my larva selected and I hit Z for zerglings. So I'm building 3 zerglings. I'm going to set the rally point for those zerglings by selecting the hatchery. I'm also, you can see here I'm clicking, I'm using my hotkey S to select the larva so that as soon as that larva came out I could make another zergling. So this drone's going up scouting, and it doesn't look like he's here, so I'm going to go to the other corner and select them, set them to a hotkey. I'm using hotkeys for my hatchery, my overlord, my drone, and all my zerglings. So I'm sending them to the top left. I sent my overlord a little bit on the wrong path, so he's not going to scout the opponent's base as quickly as he should have. I should be able to know already whether my opponent is in the bottom left or not. So that was a small error on my part. And so here my zergling's going into the main, top main, and I see a supply depot, so I immediately turn around my zerglings. You see that I didn't even go on top of my zerglings. I just hit my hotkey once to select them, and right-clicked to tell them to come down to this area. And now I'm going to lose my overlord because there are marines there. That was foolish of me. As soon as I saw the supply depot, I should have turned it around. So now I need to build an overlord because I'm supply capped. I'm at 11.9, if you see in the top right, which means I can't build any more zerglings until that overlord spawns. Now this is pretty bad, sending in my zerglings one by one. This is not what you want to do. I'm using a mix here of move and attack move. I'm not actually, you'll notice, clicking on the marines very much. I'm mostly using where I hit A and then I left click. Now I try and move my zerglings down to the bottom because if a marine is spawned, he'll spawn at the bottom. So I want my zerglings to be as close to that marine as possible. More zerglings coming in here, and I'm continuing to build them from my hatchery. I can hit 5 because that's my hotkey for my hatchery. S, Z to build more zerglings, and I've set my rally point over here. So without even leaving the battle, I'm sending in more zerglings. I'm going to just slowly pick off some SCVs, but I wanted to make sure I got down the barracks that was finished. That other barracks I was able to keep from completing, so I'm not worried about that right now. And I could do a little bit better here in picking off these SCVs. Microing away the hurt zerglings, very important. As you'll see here, I've managed to keep quite a few of my zerglings to the point where they're all low. You don't want to just have one die and then the next die. You want to pull them away when they're low so that they can keep doing damage as long as possible. So more zerglings here, and he's only got a few SCVs left, so obviously at this point I've won the game. I'm going to send this zergling around just to check if he has any other buildings. If he had built another barracks, I would want to see that, and I should have done that earlier if I were against a human. Of course I know that the computer isn't going to build another barracks. I've killed all his SCVs, he has no units, so the game is over right here. So hopefully that's a little insightful if you want to play Zerg. This is just the super super fast rush strategy that you can do. Building your spawning pool on 5, and you only get a total of 5 drones. It's a very small economy. Most games will play a much larger economy.